Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. JACALYN. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. JACALYN at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Happy Wednesday, or maybe it's happy Thursday, wherever you are. We are so happy to have you here on USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and our show today is the arts of creating mental health wealth. And we have a guest lined up for today who she's not here quite yet, but my fabulous co-host is here. Let's bring her out and have a chat with her, JENETTA Barry and the Epiphany Process. Hello. Welcome.
Hello, Dr. JACALYN, and hello, all our viewers and listeners. As always, such a pleasure to be back here today. I love this time together. So look forward to it.
Too. And we had a great time yesterday in a class together, the Power of Listening Part 4, and getting to know each other a little bit better. So I'm really enjoying this amazing opportunity to be friends and to work together. It's really valuable.
The best thing that's happened this year, in my opinion, for what I'm creating, doing, and personally too. Very special.
It is special. JENETTA, I was thinking this morning that it's May and we started this platform in January.
Isn't it amazing?
January 2022. It is. It's amazing. We have new team members joining us all the time and new people following us and watching us. So for those people who are new, this is the first time they're either listening to the show or watching the show. I would love for you to share a little bit about your background. We have a clip also that we're going to play, and tell us about the Epiphany Process.
Oh, thank you. The Epiphany Process is a process that came to fruition, was birthed through my greatest life test. One day I had my 16-year-old daughter, Jenny. She was breaking all safekeeping house rules, and it wasn't safe only for her, but for us as a family, and certainly not great for her 12-year-old baby sister to be surrounded with. And so I was putting these parameters into place, and we escalated into an enormous argument, and she left my bedroom in an absolute rage, and went off to pack and leave home. And after a while, I sensed something wasn't right, and I went to find her, and I found her in her shower, attached to her bathroom, hanging with a broken neck. And you can imagine what that did on all levels of my being, but my family's being, our lifestyles. In fact, for quite a while, we fragmented as a family. And certainly my life went down to ground zero from that moment. And there's a lot of conflict that goes in when you have that happening, that you don't even realize is happening as it's happening. So the months that followed, I found it really difficult to get to grips, as the guilt and the shame and the hidden emotions that I didn't even know I had felt at the time of finding Jenny like that would surface in short sparks, and I'd go, what is that? And then it was gone again, and I didn't know how to deal with it. And in that time, I reached a low quite a few times. I even planned my own suicide 3 times. And one day I was crossing the road really mindlessly, because that's how I was operating. I was in this zone of feeling like I was isolated from the world in a big dark hole, like a prison. And I was in an emotional prison sentence I was serving for the rest of my life. And then halfway across the street, I realized that I had forgotten that I still had choice, that I didn't need to be labeled as the mother of the child that killed herself after we had an argument. I'm not saying she didn't, but it's not the only thing I am, and that I had choice to find meaning and purpose through my greatest life test. And I stepped off that pavement and started researching and studying and looking for accurate ways to get through the waves of overwhelm and vulnerability that hit me regularly. It was like I was in a stormy sea. And I did. It took some doing, and I was able to take it and expand it to what's known today as the Epiphany Process. And I've helped thousands of people all over the world. I've been online mostly, only a few face-to-face, and I've got friends all over the world I've never met in actuality, but they're my very special friends, all through working this amazing work online. Terrorist attack victims, self-harming, not eating, deeply depressed, troubled, eating disorders. I've even helped 3 autistic children in Australia to start talking in ways they've never spoken before. It's been such a rewarding journey in my greatest pain, from my greatest pain. So that's the Epiphany Process in a nutshell.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I think to myself that it's incredible the strength that you have to come forward and share, which is still part of your life. It is part of your life that will never go away. And the way that you've addressed it and the way that you've owned it and opened up about it to help other people is truly commendable.
Yeah, it's not been easy. When I first started out, the early days, it tied me up in knots stepping out there, especially when I started stepping out with some pretty influential people around me, knowing that that message was getting out there, that although I'm making a difference, I failed. And fortunately, each time I've been able to present it, it's very clear that the more I step into my vulnerability, the more I can authentically help people, because it isn't about me. It's about getting out there. As much as it is about me, it isn't. And it's about getting out there and being authentic, so that people know there are solutions and life is livable. And just each time I've presented it, knowing that I am making a difference, even if it's to one person. That's what matters.
Especially if it's for one person's life is changed as a result. It's so important, so valuable. We do have a clip also. I'd love for you to tee this up before we run it.
Yeah, this is why World Jenny's Day. And the reason we have a World Jenny's Day is because a few years after she died, we realized she'd actually died on World Mental Health Day, the 10th of October. And we now have World Jenny's Day, where we use theatre and the arts to normalize conversations around depression, suicide, and their solutions. And we're now running the 3rd World Jenny's Day, this 2022, on this platform on USA Global TV, which I'm just so inspired is happening. We're already in the planning of it, and it's going to be an amazing, amazing day this year. But this clip actually gives the timeline from the time that Jenny died and what it was that we've gone through, or I've gone through, to get to where I am today. I thought making a difference was writing a book. Then I thought it was this process. Then I thought it was putting on a theatrical production that that addresses depression and suicide and solutions with mostly through contemporary dance. So I thought that's it. But it's actually turned out to be World Jenny's Day. So why World Jenny's Day? Here it is. Wow. Still gets me each time. So yeah,
She looks
there's
so
World
much like
Jenny's
you.
Day. Does she?
Yes. Yes. I
A lot
definitely
of
can.
people get the names mixed up. I had no idea until after she left how many people go Janetta and Jennifer's very similar names.
Mm-hmm.
And Jen, and a lot of people call me Jen, and she was called Jen. So fortunately, most people call me Netta, so it does make it easier. But yeah, wow, that's so interesting to know. Thank you for that. It
Yeah, and then I
feels
really
like,
like the
wow.
music too.
Yes, we've chosen it carefully, so thank you for that.
It's very uplifting. So, Janetta, I know that we also have something else we're going to be talking about today, and we're going to move into something that's coming up that's super exciting that people have an opportunity to get involved with. So, would you like to share more about that?
Oh, I would. It's just so exciting and inspiring at the same time. Obviously, on World Jenny's Day, especially next year, we have a very big gala evening we're planning for 2023 on the 10th of October. But even this year, it comes with costs, and it's amazing how those add up. So when we present every World Jenny's Day, obviously that money doesn't come out of thin air, and so we start doing fundraising for each day. And this year, the fundraiser is being held at the end of August and beginning of September. And I'm so inspired because we've been given the opportunity to fundraise in Africa, in East Africa, in Kenya, which, by the way, is where I'm from. I grew up in Kenya. And we're inviting people to join us on a cycle safari through a game park. And it's going to be over 6 nights through a game park, starting at the base of Mount Kilimanjaro. I'm going to show you just now. And going through Tsavo National Game Park West and Tsavo East, and ending up on the north coast of Kenya at a place called Watamu. And there'll be medals, there'll be bronze, silver, and gold medals for the cyclists. And it's really picking up momentum. And as I share the screen with you just now, we've got something very special to show you as well as to who's going to be with us. So I'm going to go over to that screen. So this is actually the World Jenny's website, and really the Kilimanjaro to Coast Kenya Cycle Safari. And it's from the 28th of August to the 1st of September. And we have this World Jenny's Day. It's being supported and coordinated with British gold medal Paralympic cyclist Karen Dark. Now, some of you might not know Karen Dark. What an amazing, amazing lady. She's actually coming back on our show in a couple of weeks' time to talk about the poles of possibility, because she and a team are actually going to be cycling across Antarctica to coordinate 7979 in Antarctica very, very soon. She's been regularly going over to Norway to train to cycle. And Karen was actually paralyzed as an early adult, and then just she got led to cycling, and then represented Britain. She won a silver, and then a silver in Tokyo, and then a gold in Rio. And such a gentle soul, what a lovely hearted soul she is. And she's coming to join us in Kenya with her special bike. And this week we've just had confirmed she's bringing one of her best friends who's also paraplegic. He's going to cycle with her. So we're going to have 2 paraplegic cyclists cycling with us through this game park. And here gives you an idea of all the previous cycles that have happened. As you can see on the top left That's Mount Kilimanjaro with the cyclists there. There's the map of Kenya and where we're starting from there. And there are all the different cycle rides starting from Mount Kilimanjaro on the left there and going through Tsavo West National Park and through to Tsavo East and Watamu. And look at that. That's where we're starting from. And that's our first night at Zawani Camp. Those are Maasai warriors there who are dancing as people are having dinner. And that little piece of water there has hippo in it.
JENETTA,
And then,
I have a question for you.
yes,
So
yes.
does a person have to be in super shape in order to be able to do this bike ride? Do you have to have approval from your doctor?
I love that question because the answer is I'm a ballet dancer, and I had Karen, because I was saying, I'm going in a car. I'm not doing this. And she said, you're doing it. And speaking to Chris and Janine organize these safaris. And I went to school in Kenya with Janine. What they're allowing people to do is those who can't do the full amount, they're urging everybody to cycle at least 20 kilometers a day. And there's a backup vehicle if you don't even manage that. It's like, yeah, that's me.
And is it mostly flat, or are there a lot of steep hills?
Fortunately, that terrain is mostly flat. The Tsavo Game Park is mostly flat. There probably will be some ups and downs, but again, there are backup vehicles. So if you go, no, I'm not doing this, I'm there. In fact, we're also discussing this week. I had Kay, who was on our show a few weeks ago too. She would love to come through and represent TikTok and all that sort of thing for World Jenny's Day. And we were discussing having the ability for people to just come along and ride with us in vehicles rather than cycle with us. For that experience of seeing the cyclists and going along with it. So it's not just a game drive. It's part of being part of a team and a lot of excitement if you don't want to cycle. So we're looking at launching that in the next week as well. So yeah.
Super exciting.
It really is very special. And then the next night, we're going into really into the middle of Tsavo West National Park. And this is amazing because we'll be cycling through First World War battlefields, because some people don't realize that Kenya was a British protectorate, or colony rather, but Tanganyika, which is now Tanzania, they took Zanzibar and Tanganyika and made it one name at independence. But before independence, it was known as Tanganyika, to the south of Kenya, was a German protectorate. So you can imagine what happened when the First World War hit. There were a lot of battles in Kenya and Tanganyika. And so we'll be cycling through those First World War battlefields in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of Africa, and through to Mactau, where the first ever airfield in East Africa, where some of the earliest 20th century airplanes, those tiger moths and all of those, took off and landed from in Kenya. And those of you who watched Out of Africa, Dennis Finch Hatton used to land there with his tiger moths. So it's a very historic part of the journey that day. And then on the third day, we're going through to carry on cycling to Taita Hills Lodge. One of the things I love about East Africa is the heavy Arabic influence that's because I don't know if you know, Mombasa is as old as Egyptian times. It was used by the Egyptians, the port of Mombasa. It is an ancient natural port. And so, the Egyptians and the Arabs and then Vasco da Gama with the Portuguese, they all came through to Mombasa. And there's such a heavy, eclectic mix of all different types of tribes and people. And you can see on that right side is one of the lodges looking quite Arabic in its furnishings. So that's the Taita Hills Lodge, Salt Lick Lodge. And then here's Hildana Lodge and Kulalu, where we'll be going. You can see you're sitting there with the elephants right there. And then on the last day, we're going to go right through to the Kenyan coast of Watamu. We're going to be cycling through the Sokoke forest and then through to the 8-kilometer ceremonial ride into Ocean Sports Resort in Watamu. And we're going to spend the final night. Look at this. It's powder white sand beaches. It's like talcum powder. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful?
Stunning.
That's where you're going to get to.
Gosh.
Also
Yay.
owned by friends of mine, his mother was my kindergarten headmistress when I was a baby. So that's how far this all goes back. And then there's a little bit of feedback from a recent safari and so on. So it's all there. And then there's this very special trophy that will be awarded to the person that raises, because we're now challenging people to raise their ride and get a plus, do even more, raise the equivalent of their ride again. And this is a beautiful handmade trophy made by a Kenyan artist. It is beautiful. It's enormous. It looks small there, but it's kind of as big as my head, probably even a little bit bigger than my head. That means I've got a big head, but but it's a beautiful. I mean, he spent weeks putting this beautiful butterfly trophy for this, and we're going to be holding it every single year. So that
JENETTA?
gives you an idea. Yes.
So for people who are not able to make the trip, can they still get involved and donate and have an opportunity
That
to
would be
win the award?
amazing. Yes, definitely. Whoever is the top raiser of funds will get that award. And you know, if needs be, we'll try and see if we can get them out there. If they've raised enough and they're our top person, they deserve to be there, even if it's to just come through to the final day in Watamu. We'll make a plan. So yeah,
And that's
absolutely
fantastic. And they just go to the same place that, by the way, where do they go? That's
Oh
actually,
yes, that does help. It's worldjennysday.com.
okay.
So that's it. Yes.
There we have it right there. Okay,
Yes,
fabulous.
www.worldjennysday.com. So yes, and what we're doing is the page on the butterfly trophy. We're busy updating with that, so that it isn't just it isn't just confined to people who are competing or to teams who are competing. So if you'd like to get involved, I'm very approachable there. Within minutes, you will have my undivided attention to be able to help you through whatever question you might have or ideas you have for fundraising or a contribution you can make, like we've got Kay wanting to do the social media side with TikTok there, because she's got a huge TikTok following. Whatever it is that you go, wow, this really relates to me and I really want to be a part of it. We'd be delighted to have you a part of it. So please do feel free about chatting to me.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that and letting people know that anyone and everyone can get involved. And I'd like us to chat a little bit now about how people can get involved for World Jenny's Day on the platform. Who are you looking to have involved as we do this live stream?
Yes. Well, we're looking before World Jenny's Day. We're going to be launching in the next month or so actually an invitation for people all around the world to record what they're going to be doing creatively, because we use our creative side on on World Jenny's Day, using our creativity, because that, when we're in our creative place, that is when we become more ourselves and start loving life and loving ourselves and loving creation and loving our creator and loving being creative. And so many of us have shut down our creative abilities for various reasons. There can be 100,000 reasons. And so we're inviting people to start videoing and filming themselves and bringing it through. And we're going to put together what people all around the world are going to be doing on World Jenny's Day. That is either their creative love or newly creative for them. So maybe we have somebody in Cambodia saying, I'm whoever I am, and on this World Jenny's Day, I am repainting a boat that I put down the river, and I'm getting the community to paint their own little story on that boat, or something like that. That's what we're doing this World Jenny's Day. Or another one will be saying, I'm going to take a singing lesson and I've never opened my mouth before. So whatever. So we're first getting that together, and then we're having people perform throughout the world every single hour, on the hour, at the 1/4 at the 1/2 and the 1/4 we'll have people performing either prose or song or instruments, or we can even have people dancing because we're on TV as well. So any type of performance. It could even be somebody drawing. It could, whatever. The possibility is endless. So we'll be having people coming through around the world, and we did similar last year on an audio platform, and it was amazing because we're using World Jenny's Day as a platform to celebrate mental health wellness. And it caught, everybody was in this place. We started in New Zealand and went across the world to Australia and India and Burma and Japan and South Korea. I nearly said North Korea. Wouldn't that have been amazing to have North Korea creating? But South Korea, and people were hopping on and performing, and the talent and the open-heartedness of it all took my breath away, and it went on for 24 hours. That's going to be a little bit more difficult this year. So we're just so inspired to be able to start at 10 o'clock in the morning, because 10th of October is 10/10. So we're going to start at 10 o'clock in the morning on 10/10 in UK, because that's where I am. And we're going to finish at 10 o'clock at night, 10/10 EST, because that's where Dr. JACALYN is. So we're going to have a long stint of being able to have people from all over the world perform and share their World Jenny's Day creative project happening, inspiration, and celebrate mental health wellness.
So much fun. And I was thinking that we need to get our dear friend Madeline Chan involved, because she's doing the film and music show, and she has connections to so many people who are artists. I'm sure they'd love to be part of this.
Amazing. Yes. And Helena as well. Helena Chard.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I've got a meeting with her tomorrow. So it would be wonderful to have Madeline there too, because her energy, I just love it. And what an extra addition to that day to have her there too would be amazing.
Fantastic. I will definitely work on having that happen. I do want to let our audience know that our guest Lorraine is backstage, but I asked her if she can come back to when we can have a whole show with her instead of just a few minutes, because she deserves to have the whole show. So that's what we'll do.
Absolutely. That'll be wonderful. Okay. Well, Dr. JACALYN, I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who would love to know a little bit about the journey, because I'm at a space and place in my life where I can mostly celebrate And so people sometimes go, are you for real? Okay, how can you get to where you are today with what you've gone through, and how much is pretending, and how much I even had a family member, and I will share this, accused me of being grandoise last year for doing all of this, and it was like, oh my word, that's just so interesting, because the journey to getting here was beyond painful. And I knew that I was going to have to go through a lot of hoops and climb many mountains and have many moments where I wondered what I was doing trying to do something like this. I was very aware of it. And there have been times, I'll be honest, where I've gone, I don't understand why I'm doing this. There have been times where in fact, Lorraine, who was going to be with us today and has had trouble getting online by the looks of it, one evening I was going to throw the towel in. I'd spent a year in New York with her, and I was back in Kenya, at home in Kenya. And I remember I got into bed and went, that's it. This is just too much and too painful and too alone and too daunting. And I kind of, I don't take sleeping pills, but I took a sleeping pill and went, no, that's it. And as I came to in the morning, the phone was ringing and there was Lorraine saying, I've got this idea and that idea. And she re-inspired me without knowing. And to me, that's what's happened, is at the times where I've just wondered how on earth I can actually go on with this, something or someone has stepped forward and shown me that it is in the light and it is the way and it is making a difference. And I stood at that reef edge, letting go of those ashes. It was so difficult. I had my last handful of Jenny's ashes and my son Neil standing with me, and he saw my hesitation as I was going, this is the last part of her I have in my life. I don't want to let go. And he just took my hand and my arm and he said, Mum, from all the work you've done, the inner work, when you let go, that's when rebirth happens. Let go. Just let it go. It's no longer Jen. Let it go. Let it go free. Let it go. And it was like, because I thought I can put it in a container and travel with it. And I just went and I let her go. The pain I can't describe to you, but I at the same time stood there going, something meaningful is going to come out of this. But I knew it wasn't going to be easy. And it hasn't. But at the same time, I wake up every morning inspired and focused and visioned. Well, most mornings, inspired, focused, and vision as to the legacy that this is leaving. And here's part of it, being with you, Dr. JACALYN, on this platform. It's amazing. It's breathtaking, really.
Oh, thank you so much. You brought up so many really important points. One that I'd love for you to talk about a little bit more, because this happens. You're basically having rocks thrown at you, people questioning you, and it's hard to imagine that anybody would pose those kind of questions to you. But when we have that happen to us, sometimes we just retreat, or we become so small and we feel so insecure. So what advice, direction, tips can you give to people when we are the brunt of someone's questions, that questioning our integrity or questioning our character? What do we do?
Or just questioning that we don't really qualify? That's the big thing. For me, I go off and I allow those feelings to be, rather than judge them and go, oh no, don't let them get to you, because that puts you in your head and your logic makes sense. And you and I have discussed this often, Dr. JACALYN, where, during the light of day where it feels safer, you go off and you go, well, they're being a bit unreasonable, or a lot unreasonable, or very unreasonable, or extremely unreasonable. And really, I do know that I'm doing a good job and my heart is where it should be, and so on. And then you go to bed, and that 3 o'clock in the morning moment where your emotions go, I don't agree with you, and they wake you up going, please listen to me. Because essentially, when we try and go off and say, no, it doesn't matter, we're cutting off how we're feeling and we're suppressing it. So that suppression of how we feel, those feelings start going, no, I'm turning into Vesuvius here and erupting. And they go, whoosh, listen to me at 3 o'clock in the morning. So the very first step before even addressing that 3 o'clock in the morning side is to allow yourself and be gentle and go, you know what? It's all right to feel overwhelmed. It's understandable to be feeling overwhelmed. In fact, in that theatrical production, there's a dance number called Allowing and Wallowing, because you need to allow those feelings. They need to be heard. I feel hurt. I feel judged. I feel shut down. I feel not good enough. I feel like an imposter. I feel like people are going to put me into some sort of emotional court, and I'm going to serve a sentence for being an imposter. These are the sort of secret conversations that one runs when you step out of being what you're not normally, when you step out into creating something bigger than you that will make a difference, but you still run those conversations. And I always say it's allowing them and softening to them and understanding how valuable and how important it is that being inside you, that being overwhelmed and vulnerable matters. You matter. The moment you start judging yourself, that parts of yourself are unacceptable and unlovable and need to be changed, then there's a huge enough conflict going on inside there. When you understand how valuable those doubts are, that makes a big difference. So the first step is to allow them. I always say there's a time where you click over into wallowing, where you start feeling sorry for yourself. It's like, oh, poor me, and I'm a martyr and victim. That's the time where you go, okay, that's enough. Now let's do something about this. And for me, it's being able to understand the value of not always being upbeat, the value of being challenged by people. So if I had everybody not challenging me and everybody going, wow, you're amazing, you can see where I'm likely to go, which is to not question things and not tweak things because everybody's saying it's wonderful. So those that question me I thank them every single day, because they become my inadvertent teacher and guide. They're the guidance that's so necessary. And then once I start seeing what they're doing to help me, even though they may not think so, they may think they're destroying me, when I see what it is they're also equally doing to assist me, my heart opens and I start understanding them from a heartfelt place. So those are the first steps to go to.
Wow, I love this. I love that you, instead of looking at a negative perspective, you take it on and take it from a positive perspective, that this is actually challenging you to do some additional work.
Yes, and to make things that much more authentic, because if everybody went around, I mean, I'd be so inflated and not putting any checks in to what I was doing, because everybody's saying I'm so amazing and wonderful, and what we're doing is so amazing and wonderful, and then you just carry on doing that, and that's when mediocre steps in. So those people that challenge me, I start thanking them. Some of them I cut off when I know that parameters have overstepped that are unhealthy. not because I want to destroy them, but just that I know that it's surrounding myself with those that build what we're doing, not destroy. So this isn't about allowing people to come in and go and destroy, but it is allowing to take what they're saying and use it really, really from a place of thankfulness and grace.
I agree with you. And yesterday you and I were in a course together, and I received feedback that my life is totally out of balance. And I remember when I was told this, I kind of thought, I don't think so. But I did think about it. I took the information and I thought it is totally out of balance because it's all focused around work, but the work brings me such joy. So I might not have the playful side that I need to have, but I feel like I get to play here.
Absolutely. Play comes in many forms. So what you see as play and I see as play and somebody else sees as play could be three completely different things. And you go, well, that's not play and that's not play, but mine is play. Play is play. It comes in many forms. And what I loved about what you've just said is that I touched on this yesterday. I always say, how does a toddler learn to walk? They actually have to fail. They actually have to land on their bums and not manage to stand and balance. They have to do the opposite, because if they just got up and walked, they would be missing a whole load of skill sets, from discernment, judgment, choice, getting their spatial into place, decision-making skills. There's just so much internal negotiation. And you don't see a toddler land down there and go, I'm an extreme failure. I wanted to stand, but I extremely failed. It's not in their inner internal language. They just know, okay, well, that was one way not to do it. It's not failure. It's readjustment time. And that readjustment gives them discernment and choice. And so they need to fall down. So whenever I find my life going out of balance, I don't judge it. I understand that every part of a cycle has its extreme and its balance, and its extreme and its balance. It comes in waves. How you manage it is the key. And bringing it always into balance, but allowing it to go out of balance is just as important, because in the fine tuning of bringing it back into balance, the balance becomes even more heart opening. And I always say there's no right or wrong. Every part of that out of balance, in balance, is part of the infinity. It's part of a pendulum. It's part of the tide coming in and the tide coming out. Is the tide going out wrong? No. Is the decibels of sound coming out my mouth where you don't hear me wrong? No. So it's the ebb and flow, and sometimes all times out of extreme serves. The secret is to know how to bring it back into manageability again, rather than it controlling you. And I think you do amazing, really. What you juggle with this network here, my admiration and hats off to you. And I can see you having fun.
Thank you. I'm having a great time. And yesterday I went into the garage and I got out my trampoline and I took it out into the front patio and I jumped on the trampoline for an hour. I put on some music and I just had so much fun doing jumping jacks and twisting and side to sides. And I felt like I was a kid. And something that I do to physically confirm if I'm in balance or not is I'll do yoga poses on one leg. And if you can stand on one leg and do all the various things, that to me shows that I'm in balance, because there are times when I can't pick up my back foot and bring it up. I can't do it because I'm rocking back and forth. But right now I'm steadfast, so I'm pretty happy about
and
that.
Yoga's I love it, because yoga's a very good physical description of of the Epiphany process. What we do in yoga is what we do mentally and emotionally with the process. And it's bringing that balance in. And some days you will have wobblies. I love that simile, because you have some days where you bring it in and other days where you go. In fact, I always say, this is one of those days where I'm not doing the process today. It can go out the window. It's not happening. So not happening. But most of the time it does.
Well, something that I'll share is I have this, I forget what it's called. It's half of a ball, a medicine ball. So it's blue on the bottom, then it has a flat top. It's called a BOSU, both sides up, BOSU, not a paid spokesperson. And before the pandemic, I have no problem whatsoever standing on one leg, twirling hula hoops on my arms, or taking a 20-pound bar, lifting over my head and bending forward. And when the pandemic, I guess we were a year into it, and we could finally go back to the gym. I went to the gym and I could not even stand on the BOSU. And it just showed me how much it had changed. I was afraid to even stand with both feet. I was shaking. And that to me was, after doing it for so long, there it was. It was obvious that I was not in balance as a result of what had happened.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I wanted to share with you that balance on one leg. The Maasai do that. If you're driving, the Maasai tribesmen do it, and you're driving, say, in the Maasai Mara, and there's this lone Maasai man there with his goats and cows, and you see him, and he'll be standing there with one leg on his knee. That's their stance. And they being nomadic, they come from a very deeply spiritual background and understanding of the earth and the universe and all that stuff. They really, really come from a fabulous background. I think it's been tainted with Western life, but amazing.
It sounds like you're speaking about the triangle pose.
Yes, the triangle pose on one leg. Yes, exactly.
Everybody get out there and try standing on one leg. It's great. We do have a couple of comments from someone in our private Facebook group. That would be a woman. I don't know who. Good morning, doctor. That's amazing. Thank you so much. We're glad that you're here. And someone on YouTube, I don't know what your message is, but we thank you for being here. How would you say
Egwono Awaritoma. That's a beautiful name.
Very pretty.
Awaritoma. Is that Maori or from? Yeah, it feels like it's from that side of the world. Am I correct? We'd love to hear from you if that's where you're from. It's beautiful, beautiful name.
Thank you for watching our show. We appreciate it. Yes. JENETTA, it's just about time to close up. I can't believe it. But I would love for you to share with our audience again, especially for the people who are new and they're listening on the radio and they're thinking, I want to contact her. I want to get involved. I want to be involved with the bike ride, World Jenny's Day. What do they need to do?
You can contact us and me, especially me, on www.worldjennysday.com. There are many places there to get hold of me. There's a contact place on the first page, even on the bike ride page as well. There's a contact sheet there. Please feel free. But I am also on WhatsApp at +44 777 423-0464. So if you would like to chat to me directly about World Jenny's Day, I invite you to contact me there too. And I'd love your input. We'd love your input and thoughts and ideas or participation.
Brilliant as always. Thank you so much. And I'll reach out to Madeline and we'll get the ball rolling there as well.
It'll be amazing.
All right, JENETTA, thank you so much for being here. And I look forward to chatting with you later.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Bye for now. Hello, everyone. I just want to reach over and get this book. I have to keep promoting this book because it's a a beautiful work of compilation from 12 different people. It's the name of the book is Adversity to Awesome. And the first chapter of this book is actually my story, something that happened to me that I kept inside for a very long time and didn't want to talk about, but felt the calling to put it out there to help someone else. So you can go over to Amazon and you can pick up your copy of this book. It became a #1 new release, I think, within 2 hours of being launched. So that's fabulous. The other thing I want to share is I have started a jewelry line with my friend and jeweler, Margie Cedrone. She's an artisan jeweler. And these pieces are custom pieces that can be made for you and shipped to wherever you are in the world. So the first one is this bracelet. And as you can see, I'll take it off. It's sterling silver and it has my name in diamonds. And of course, you're not going to put my name on there. Why would you? You're going to put your name on there. So you can actually find out more about this at my website. I actually have 2 websites, and the one that this is located on is drjacalyn.com. You'll see there's a shop there. I, in addition to running this platform, am a certified life and career coach, certified meditation teacher, and a certified yoga instructor. So please do go over and check it out. And maybe this will be in your future to have it on your wrist with your name. All right. Thank you so much. We are going to be off the air for the next hour, and then we're coming back with the United Kingdom, news and culture, and we'll be meeting with our expert correspondents. And I want to run a quick sponsorship for a new movie that's out. Excuse me, it's actually here in the States, and I just booked tickets for this weekend. Yay. So let's take a look. It's Downton Abbey, A New Era, and we'll see you soon.